our presentation. Since Azam not here yet, maybe problem with the internet again. Let's start with sorry, he also not here. Aiman. Okay, Aiman. I will give you permission to okay. Yeah.
And see the slide.
Okay, sure. So since you'll be only explaining just the laser part, the just the how it works, you only have like 5 to 6 minutes to present. Okay, okay, go on.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today I will present about how does the semiconductor laser work. First, we need to know three requirements in semiconductor laser. First one is the material for P-type and N-type must be direct band gap so that it can give out photon, not phonon. Then the second one is the P-type and N-type material needs to be heavily doped so that the concentration of carriers for both material is high. So as a result, as we can see here in this band diagram of zero bias, the Fermi level is inside the conduction band of N-type semiconductor and it is inside the valence band of P-type semiconductor. Then the last requirement is it needs to be in forward bias, because when it is in forward bias, the slope of the active region is reduced. As we can see here in this diagram, the slope is not as steep as when it is in zero bias. So it is easier for the electrons to flow in the conduction band from the N-type to the P-type. Thanks to heavily doping of P-type and N-type material, we can see that the free carriers, electrons and holes, is the concentration of the free electrons and holes are very high in the active region, so that the recombination process can happen frequently, like many times. As a result, a lot of photons will be produced. But until at this point, it is quite similar to LED, because LED also produce photon. But what makes laser difference is because of the characteristic of the laser light itself. So to know about that characteristic is I will talk about these three processes involved in semiconductor laser. First one is the energy absorption, is when the electron occupies higher energy level by absorbing energy such as photon, but the electrons at that higher energy level is not so long, just about nanoseconds, and then it will undergo spontaneous emission, which the electron falls back to lower energy level and emits photon. And lastly, the most important one is the stimulated emission, is when this photon, the existing photon, interact with an atom with the already excited electron at higher energy level. So instead, rather than the electron absorb that existing photon. It will undergo spontaneous emission instead, and it will the emitted photon is perfectly coherent to that existing photon, the incoming photon just now. And this is the one of the characteristic of laser light, which it is perfectly coherent, not like LED light. Coherent means that the wavelength of the photon is in phase. So as we can see here, the wave is in phase, so it is coherent to each other. To make the intensity of that coherent photon even greater, we put reflective surface such as a mirror to both sides of the active layer, so that the coherent photons can bounce to produce more coherent photon. And then the one of the reflective surface, the reflective index is reduced a bit, so that after some time, when desired intensity of photon achieved, it can go out and become laser. And this is also the one of the characteristic of laser light, which it is brighter and more focused compared to LED light. Lastly, I will talk a bit about differences between LED and laser. LED emits light by spontaneous emission, while laser emits light by stimulated emission. As I said earlier, the LED light is incoherent, while the laser light is coherent. The photons in phase to each other. And then the response in LED is slow compared to laser. And then the junction area of the LED is wide compared to laser. It has a narrow and small junction. And that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Aiman. So the Q&A will be after this. Now let's call Salihin to present his part. Then after that, Azam. Then we have the Q&A together. Okay, Salihin. Are you listening?
Yeah. Can you listen to me if I use my phones?
Okay.
Is it clear?
It's okay. Okay, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, for my Islamization, it doesn't take long, as because the Islamization part is Allah said in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 38 and 39, فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَا تُبْصِرُونَ وَمَا لَا تُبْصِرُونَ, where Allah said that, so I swear by what you see and what you do not see. As Allah mentioned here, there's something that we can see and something that we cannot see, as something that far away from us, which is planet, and the universe outside the earth, we cannot see it, but with laser technology, it helps us to see what's far beyond our eyes. And in this verse, Allah do not deny that we cannot see anything that we are not capable of seeing before. So there's chance for us to see something that we are not capable to see before. With using the knowledge and technology, the laser technology enables us to see the planet far, far away. And that's all for my summarization part.
Okay. I will wait my question later. So, okay, Azam, it's your turn. So since you'll be explaining a few, I'll give you like 6 minutes to present.
Pardon?
You have 6 minutes from now. Are you going to present everything? I remember.
Madam said I have to present from everything.
Okay, 15 minutes from now.
Can everyone see the slide?
Yeah.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, today we meet again. I will share about LED. Like LED is light emitting diode. It is a semiconductor device that emit light when an electric current is passed through it. And it is comprises of compound semiconductor material, which is made from group 3 and group 5 of periodic table. So what's make light emitting diode special and why people go for LED? It having longest lifespan, having faster switching. It is small in size and very low power consumption, etc. So that's why LED been used used a lot nowadays. So before I proceed to LED, how LED works, let's take a look on PN junction first. So this is PN junction, consists of P side, N side, and between P side and N side, there is a depletion region, which consists of immobile ions. So when P side connected to positive terminal, before that, there are two types, which are homojunction, which is same material as we can see in the figure. Both use silicon, but different type, P type and N type. And the second is heterojunction, which is I will explain more after this. So regarding the P type and N type, P type is a material with majority hole and N type with majority electron. It is extrinsic.
Skip this one because we already know this. Okay. Right.
So when P side connected to positive terminal of battery and N side connected to negative terminal of battery, forward bias happen, and it will narrowing the depletion region. If the forward bias voltage more than junction voltage, then PN junction will conduct. Its main the current will flow. So for the energy band diagram, if we compare both on the right, on the left is zero bias, and on the right is forward bias. The slope in depletion region layer reduce. Therefore, electron will easily flow or drift from n-type to p-type. Similarly to hole, it will easily drift from p-type to n-type. And at the
Are you sure the word is drift?
Yes.
Okay, after this you think, go on first. All right, because it's not right. Teruskan.
Okay, at the junction, the electron drop or lose energy in order to recombine with hole. As in PN junction diode, silicon were used. It release phonon, or which is in form of heat. So we have learned before, there are two types of band gap, indirect and direct. So in the PN junction diode, the material used is silicon and gallium, which have indirect band gap. So when recombination, it releases phonon. But when in LED, the material used is a compound semiconductor material, for example, gallium arsenide and gallium phosphide, which have direct band gap. And when recombination happen, it will release phonon, which is it will release light. So I go to how LED works. In the forward bias, when forward bias voltage is more than junction voltage, it will conduct or current will flow. The slope in depletion region reduce, and electron or hole can easily cross, drift. And it's similar to PN junction. At junction, the electron lose energy in order to recombine with hole and photon emitted. And I have mentioned before regarding reverse bias, no current flow and no light emitted. So there are two types of LED, as I mentioned before. The first is homojunction. Homojunction, which both use the same material but different in the different type. One P type, which is have a lot of holes, and another is N type, which have a lot of electron. And the second is heterojunction. A junction between two different band gap semiconductor is called heterojunction. It just like a quantum well. Okay, and this
Is it the same as quantum well? What do you mean?
Yeah, it is the how it's work is same with quantum well.
Never mind, we'll discuss later. Go on.
Okay. Okay, this is under heterostructure, but called double heterostructure. LED construction for increase the intensity of the output light. To increase the intensity of output light. So it places a different semiconductor between two junctions that have a different band gap. I think smaller band gap. Okay, next we go to performance parameter. The first is LED color. Different wavelength range and material use produce different color of LED, we can see in the figure that the different semiconductor material will release or emit the different wavelength that will determine the color. And also the voltage needed is also different as well. So next, luminous flux. The measure of perceived power of light, it only related to perceived power of light, which concern to visible spectrum. It means that the range that can see with our eyes. And if source emit ultraviolet or infrared, although it visible by human eye, it's not contribute to luminous flux. It is measured using special chamber with lamp placed inside, so it captures the entire luminous flux of lamp. Okay, next, illuminance. The illuminance is the quality of light that fall on the surface. This illuminant, amount of light falling on 1 meter squared area. And the second is luminous intensity, units candela, the quality of visible light that is emitted in unit time per unit solid angle. That is luminous intensity, the angle, the light emitted toward a specific directed within a given angle. Next is luminance. Luminance is the intensity of the emitted light on given area and direction. Okay, this is the luminance, light reflected to eye. Okay, next, luminous efficiency is a measure of how well a light source produce visible light. So, and the final is reverse bias voltage protection. As we know that large reverse bias voltage can make the LED broke, so it's need protection in the circuit. When the reverse bias apply, the LED is not broken. So for the current technology, I found that the what we call a reverse LED cooling. Before this, reverse bias may broken the LED, but the researchers now they make the LED when the reverse bias apply, it will make some cooling to draw heat away from processor. So for the Islamization in Surah An-Nur, verse 174, A'udzubillahi minasyaitonir rajim. Ya ayyuhan nas qad ja'akum burhanun min rabbikum wa anzalna ilaikum nuran mubina. And the meaning is, oh mankind, is ya ayyuhan nas qad ja'akum, there has come to you burhanun, as I said before, the burhan is come from a root word of baroha, which literally mean white and shiny. Some scholars say the word burhan come from Farsi word. It means a sword that is shiny and sharp, that can cut out through anything. And we continue, mirabbikum, that come from your master. So it is the proof that it can cut off any argument, or it is undefeatable proof or undefeatable argument. Wa anzalna ilaykum, and we have sent down to you nuran mubina. Literally it means a clear light, a clarified light. But some scholars say it's preferred to Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and some others say it's preferred it's mean Quran. It's bring mean Nur Mubina is Quran. It is not how it is a light that it can cut proof any argument, not in the past only, but it still be used right now. And it is not light itself, but also everything else around. So I want to add something regarding the Quran. The Quran is not give beneficial to us if the Quran is just at our shelf or in our phone, but the Quran it will give benefit to us if we read and try to understand the content. It is like what we learned before, the recombination process that emit light. If we recombine with the Quran, it will benefit us. I think that's all.
So what
Thank
does it
you.
have to do with semiconductor LED?
Then
What is your Islamization has to do with the semiconductor LED?
like I mentioned before, Al-Quran itself not giving light if we not read it. It's like the recombining process. If we recombine with the Quran, inshallah it will benefit us.
Okay, I still not clear. Okay, thank you, Azam. Let's call for question from the floor. So Aiman can also still ask Azam question and vice versa. So let's start with LED. Okay, let's start with the question to the LED. Okay, open the floor. Kita dah tanya, dah buat soal jawab kan. All of you understand how the LED works? You want to ask any more question on how the LED works? If you don't understand, you better ask. Kalau tak, saya akan tanya awak. So being quiet is not good. Only if you understand is good. Yes.
Okay, for LED, is it all type of LED use the same PN junction?
Azam.
What you mean by the same PN junction?
Answer Aina. Because I also don't understand your question, Aina.
Okay.
Maybe I will try. I think,
Why you will try? Okay, can you try to explain the question first before answer?
I think she tried to ask the mechanism for the the different type of LED. We have homojunction and heterojunction. Is it use the same PN junction way? Is it?
Yes.
The same PN junction what?
The same method.
I don't understand. Okay, go on. Try to answer if you understand.
My answer is yes, but the structure is different, but the structure will be different and the energy band diagram will be different as well.
I don't understand. I don't understand the question. Aina, I want you to think again the question and write down. Think carefully of the question. Okay? Kalau tak, I won't let you go. Kalau tak, saya tak akan lepaskan awak lah. So if you don't rephrase your question until I understand what you want to ask. Okay, next question to an LED.
Okay, can I ask?
Yes.
Okay, in LED, which 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 parameter that we use, not parameter. That in laser we have some spontaneous, stimulated, absorbent and stimulated emissions. Which type of emission that we use in LED?
Okay, Azam.
Can you repeat the emission of LED, of laser again?
Okay, in laser there is 3 emissions, which is spontaneous emission, stimulated emission, and the third one is observation. Sorry. Which emission that LED focus on?
Apa? Repeat.
Which type of emission that LED focus on?
Okay. Azam.
Three.
Azam.
Yes.
Yeah, what's your answer? Do you know or you don't know?
I don't know.
Okay, it's easy. So next time this answer you don't know. Okay, the answer is
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous emission. So the one that normally that I teach in the class where we have recombination gives out light, that is spontaneous emission. I might not tell you the name, but it's the one that when you recombination you get light. There is any recombination that gives out light is called spontaneous emission. You can emit anytime and it's spontaneous. It's a bit random. That's why so however the laser they have another special, in order to get a coherent light, it has to be stimulated, which then you need to understand what stimulated emission is. So spontaneous emission is just the normal emission that I was teaching in the class. Okay, next question to LED. Do you all understand or not? Otherwise, I will ask you.
Yes, Azam, can you go back to the quantum well slides?
Okay. Because from your question, I know whether you understand or not. And you need to ask question. Kalau you said, oh, tak tanya soalan the one that, then if I ask you, you cannot answer, it means that you don't understand.
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
So I got 2 questions here. What do you mean actually by the heterojunction? Is it the heterojunction between the P and N, or the heterojunction between the P, the quantum well material, and then the N? Which structure is it? Do you understand my question?
Are you thinking? I think it's like a quantum well.
No, my question is, okay, there's a quantum well there, right? So
Yes.
in our class, we learned that the quantum well form because we sandwich very thin materials between P and N, right? So is this LED structure the same as that one?
The
The
same.
question again?
The same.
My question is that okay, the
Very
quantum
simple.
wells
One
form.
very simple question, very straightforward. One sentence. What's your question?
Okay, does this quantum well is the same with the quantum well that we learned in the class?
Okay. So Adam, what's your answer?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So what's the material they use in the middle there? Just if you do a research before, otherwise yes.
When you answer yes, I have a confusion here, Azam. Are you saying heterojunction and quantum well the same thing?
I think no.
Okay, so the type of the LED that you explain here, is it heterojunction or LED or quantum well? Which I don't understand
Yeah, that's the problem.
in this slide.
This is heterojunction.
So what does it have to do with quantum well here?
So it is not a quantum well.
I don't know. Kenapa orang tak quantum well kat situ?
Yes, dah
Why?
buang, madam.
Huh?
Dah buang, madam.
Dan bukan sebab buang tak buang, Azam. Saya nak faham. Saya tengah nak check ni awak faham ke tak? You know, my marks will be based on what you understand or you misunderstand. So, okay, since you put it there, and it's not wrong, just that how you understand it. I mean, just checking your understanding. So now, what is the difference between a heterojunction LED and a quantum well LED?
The size of material.
What material? Which material?
Size.
The in the middle.
What is in the middle? What's the name of the middle?
Intrinsic.
Huh? Apa?
If in this, it use gallium arsenide.
Can't hear you.
In this, you can see this picture. If in this, it use gallium arsenide.
So you, okay, can you repeat your answer again? Make it very clear. So what is the difference between apa nama ni, heterojunction LED and a quantum well LED?
The heterojunction LED. The difference between the heterojunction LED and quantum well LED is the size of the material in the middle. If
Okay, what's the difference? How should the quantum well, what's the size of the quantum well?
The quantum well is within 100 micro.
Huh?
Madam. The quantum well size is 10 nanomicro.
Huh?
10 nanometer.
Oh, okay. Kejut
It's very small, but
baru.
the heterojunction is not very small. As shown in this 0.2
basically
micrometer.
anything bigger than 100 nanometers, it should be it's called hetero. Okay, or dia ada quantum wire juga, tapi okay lah, let's say normally heterojunction is in micrometer. Okay, nanometer, 100 nanometer, it will be in quantum well. Tens of nanometer, it will be quantum dot. Okay, now, because when you're explaining the heterostructure and the quantum wells, it was a bit confusing just now. So you say it works the same as the LED, as the quantum well. You say heterojunction work at the same as LED, right? You said just now, right? What do you mean by
Junction.
that?
What, madam, you said? I hear you say the heterojunction work like LED.
You said just now in your presentation,
Yes.
I'm quoting what you said. You said how the heterojunction LED works is the same as the quantum well. What do you mean?
I mean the how the band diagram look like.
Okay, how about how it works of the heterojunction and a quantum well LED? Is it the same? Is it the same? What's the point of having quantum well?
Quantum well, it have a level.
Huh?
It have several level inside it.
Level inside it. So
So it is confined.
So
It only if quantum dot it move in 2D only and confined in 2D.
oh, okay. Confined 2D. Right. Now, no, I just realized that why my recording my mic is not clear. Then I just realized I chose the wrong mic. I think now it should be like clearer, right? Do you hear me clearer?
Too
Hello.
Very
Too loud?
madam.
Too loud.
Very loud.
Too loud.
The previous one was fine.
Huh?
This one better.
The previous one better?
Yes.
Yeah.
But when I record, it's not clear when. Okay,
Oh,
Kejap mana ni? Patut dah selama ni saya punya. Okay, maybe. Is it better now?
yeah.
Better now. Okay. Alright. Now, lepas more than half of the semester, I just realised I punyalah pakai the speaker here. Rupanya tak pakai yang ni. Cerdik tu. Tak boleh cerdik lah. Itu kesimpulannya tak cerdik. Azam. So, apa nak kata ni? Okay lah. Next question. Yang penting semua kawan-kawan nak faham. Saya tak faham pun tak apalah. Yang orang lain? Lagi soalan? Habis dah soalan? Yes. Stop sharing.
Can Azam share the slide and Solihin also Aiman, because my Zoom keep crashing, so I didn't get the presentations because of the internet.
So everybody put in the Telegram your Azam already shared. So Solihin and Aiman can share your slide in the Telegram.
And everyone access the link. We need to log in with live account.
Tak payah pakai live account, tak boleh ke text je kat situ. Senang Azam hidup kita ni.
Okay. I will try after this.
Masalah di dunia ni, internet masalah, mikrofon masalah. We need to make it easy for everybody. Okay, ada lagi soalan LED? Awak faham lah how LED works? Kalau saya suruh draw, I will ask you to draw how the LED works using energy band diagram. Boleh buat? Dan saya akan tukar sikit, saya suruh tambah quantum bell, saya suruh tambah quantum dot. Boleh buat?
quantum dot? Ada juga.
Yalah. Quantum dot. So Azam tak cerita, dia ada quantum dot LED juga. Ada tak Azam?
I don't know. I'm struggle to find the type, madam.
Oh, okay. Sedih buat dengan cerita struggle ni.
Struggle.
But most they share the packaging
Itulah. Sebab banyak
So-
yang benda tu. It's true. So maknanya awak kena baca buku kot. Awak search kat internet je, awak search buku tak?
I try to find the slide from lecturer in other university as well. I found only one video regarding the type, but that not show the image. It show only description.
Tapi
So
ada
I can imagine.
awak kena check buku textbook. Saya tahulah awak tak pergi library, tapi dia banyak buku-buku lain yang online juga. So did you check in textbook and you couldn't find still?
Honestly, I not check the book.
Tu masalahnya. Pada kita ni student, bukulah kawan nombor 1 kita. Nombor 2, barulah internet patutnya. Tu pun tak boleh fully. Tu sebab our all rely on the internet. Habislah. Sebab internet ni dia banyak sangat information yang akan Google keluar tu yang semua orang cari yang seorang lain minat benda tu, dia keluar benda tu. It doesn't mean that benda tu kita minat. So dia akan push information yang dia rasa kita pun akan minat. Tapi kita tak minat pun. So jadi itulah masalahnya internet ni. So dia macam banyak benda and banyak rubbish juga. So you need to like filter through. Sebab tu buku bagus, journal pun bagus, tapi journal payah sikit nak faham. Sekarang saya ada bagi, awak tak check ke buku yang buku textbook of this class? Ya kan saya bagi awal-awal kelas tu.
Ada download madam.
Dah tak ada dalam tu?
Tak check.
Itulah macam mana saya nak bagi makan ni. Kau sabar je lah. Ramadan ni kita tak boleh marah. Okay. Tazkirah pada diri.
I try to find the latest version. It show it's 2000 something.
It doesn't matter latest version ke tak latest version, doesn't care. Yang 20 tahun, 50 tahun dulu boleh pakai textbook tu. Still the same. Tak adalah the same, tapi they will talk about quantum well jugalah sikit. Quantum dot. Sebab senang sikit nak faham ke baca buku. Okay, so saya rasa kawan-kawan awak saya tak tahulah. Honestly, tak apa. Nanti kita buat. Alright. Kita akan buat poll. How much you understand? Kita buat LED habis ni. Semua orang kena poll dengan honest. LED faham berapa persen?
Madam?
Yes?
Suara madam macam dia delay dengan video.
Orang lain macam tu juga ke awak je?
That's the problem.
Saya rasa internet awak kot Azam.
I think 100% just okay.
I think it's your internet. Itulah susah hidup kita ni kan. Kita nak masuk universiti balik pun naik balik. No, you know, jangan. Okay, I stop recording. Sekarang ni ada. Tak dengar suara lah Najwa. Tak tahu apa masalah internet ke. Okay, kita pergi kepada orang seterusnya. Najwa, macam mana kita ni? Okay, next. Kita ada 4 calonnya, cepat. Kita ada masa ni. Kalau tidak, kita extend your semester. Kalau tak habis saya punya syllabus ni, awak tanya soalan lambat. Saya extend syllabus semester awak semua. Okay, soalan.
Kita buat tu S. I might.
Okay.
About the structure of the laser.
So what is your question? Can you ask the question in full sentence?
I need the picture. Dia punya apa?
You want me to share the screen?
Yes.
Aiman, janganlah share screen pun 5 minit. Kita tak ada masa. Yang mana awak nak tahu, Hambali?
Why the N-type more denser, more larger than the P-type?
Okay, sila jawab, Aiman. That's a good question. Tapi Aiman have to be super sifu in order to answer. Kita dengar dulu jawapan dia apa.
Need a lot of hole.
Apa Mali? Aiman?
Yeah, Azam. I think because we want to increase the concentration of electrons.
Cool. Cool.
What do you mean by whole, Azam?
Macam mana? Jawapan dia?
To increase the concentration of electrons.
Increase the concentration of electron. Why?
So that more recombination process can occur.
But you know, right, recombination process is both electron and hole. Kalau banyak electron pun, hole sikit, it doesn't make sense because it need both. So, do you know or you don't know?
I don't know.
Okay, easy. Jawab macam tu je kan senang. Kalau tak sure, kata tak sure. Tak tahu, tak sure,
Just
tak
try.
tahu. Apa?
Just trying.
It's good that you try. Tadi you try tapi salah. So nak try lagi ke tak try lagi? Okay, the answer is because not because of the carriers. Sebab dia about the structure, the physical structure. Because if you want to make the LED, so the basis need to be stronger. Katalah kalau the N type tu sebab dia tak N type kat bawah. Kalau dia tak P type kat bawah, boleh juga dia tak P type kat bawah. Okay, it can be either way. It can be the N type at the top or the P type at the bottom. Whatever is, the one at the bottom has to be thicker because dia kalau dia nipis, imagine benda tu retak lah. You need to have a strong. This is micrometer to handle it, to pegang dengan tweezer tu. Kalau dia, if it's too thin, it will break easily. So it's just to hold everything together. So that's why it has to be thicker. And another reason kalau ada kalau cerita pasal a bit of lattice mismatch, thicker layer ni at the bottom will help to buang defect. Tapi yang tu tak payah, tu PhD level. So undergrad level is just that we understand that it need to be thicker so that for practical purposes the LED can withstand, dia tak patah, dia not brittle. Okay, next question. Stop sharing. Kenapa awak tanya soalan-soalan yang ni? Cuba tak ada soalan apa basic lah. Okay. Ada soalan lagi? Semua orang satu, cepat. Saya kira sampai 3 ya. Tak ada saya potong semua markah yang tanya soalan lambat. 1 2
Solihin, I got one question for you.
Okay.
You do laser, right? Just
Yes.
for confusion. Okay. So during the forward bias of the laser, does the spontaneous emission occurs first, which led to the stimulated emission, or is it directly go to the stimulated emission?
Good question. Answer Solihin.
The answer is it's depend on the optical resonant cavity, which means spontaneous emission happen first because when there's not enough, the optical resonant cavity is not achieved, the stimulated emission cannot be emitted. So the answer is spontaneous first and then stimulated.
For all or for certain only?
I'm not sure about that.
Answer that, Aiman. Is it for all or for certain only?
Certain.
Why you say certain? So what are the other condition which is not?
think, madam, when there is already enough photon energy field, then there's no need for
How is it
spontaneous
possible?
emission,
How is it possible to have enough? How?
because if it's the device give enough photon energy,
How is it possible? Aiman? Okay, I will answer that question. The answer is no, not possible lah Aiman. Jawapan awak salah. So, saya ni, you need to be careful with me. Kadang saya tanya banyak soalan sebab saya tahu jawapan tu salah. Nak tengok apa benda awak jawab ni. So, awak akan fikir. Sebetulnya awak tiba-tiba masuk dalam lubang. So, the answer is not possible. All laser, semiconductor laser has to go through spontaneous emission first before it enters stimulated emission. Okay. So it will be an LED first before it becomes a laser because it's lasing. Okay. Next question. Saya kira sampai 3. 1.
so my answer is correct, madam.
Your
For the
answer
first
is
question.
partially correct sebab you kata apa nama ni mula-mula tu. But I,
Then yes, happen first.
so correct lah. Tapi mula awak kata untuk certain condition, tak certain all condition.
Saya cakap saya tak pasti.
Okay, saya cakap saya pun tak pastilah juga makan apa awak pun jawab tu betul ke tak. Okay, next question. Saya kira sampai 3. Awak tahu who you are yang tak tanya lagi laser. 1. And you should ask one question each to Aiman and Solihin. Sebabnya Faiz dah tanya Solihin, you should ask Aiman.
I want to ask Aiman.
Okay, Azam.
Is it the laser use the same material as LED?
Okay, answer.
Yes.
Then what the difference?
The difference is it is heavily doped compared to LED.
Yes.
Only that? Is that the only difference?
Yeah, if we talk about material, yes, but if we talk about the junction, the laser will be much narrower than LED.
Okay, even that, yeah, okay. Bringing back to that question, because when I don't understand what you mean by that junction is narrower. What do you mean?
The active region much narrower. Like
Why is it to be narrower? Aina, what is active region? Because you don't ask question, I ask you. What is active region? Aina? Why didn't you ask question? Kenapa tak tanya? So you better ask question. Saya banyak nak tanya yang duduk senyap ni. I will ask you more question because there are many things that I'm sure you don't understand. Tapi kenapa tak tanya soalan? Tak faham saya. Okay. What is active region, Aiman?
It's the region where the recombination occurs.
Betul ke Solihin? Solihin? Tak dengar. Awak dengar mute ke apa?
Yes, madam.
Correct?
So you agree with the answer?
Not all agree, not agree fully.
So what is active region?
It's like the cut-off region where the saturation of the carrier.
Apa benda?
It's like in the depletion region, there's active region, right? It's like the saturation is depend on the saturation of the carrier.
What do you mean by saturation of carrier?
Because when the electron move in the depletion region, then this must be the density of it.
Ayo, lagi.
Yo.
Awak faham tak Aina? Aktif tak saya tanya awak, what is active region? Dia orang duk jawab ni. Can you understand what their answer is? Kau tak faham
I
tanya?
got the part
Ha?
about the cut off, but cut off is something that not so clear.
Tanya soalan apa yang awak tak faham?
Just now you mentioned about the cut off, getting the active region.
So?
That is the part that I got lost.
What I understand is the active region is in the depletion region, is the area where in depletion region where the saturation of or density of the electrons differ.
Faham ke tak Aina?
So there's nothing to do with the cut off. Okay.
Awak faham dah ke sekarang Aina? I will attack you.
Yeah, I got the point about the active region. It's the depletion region. But tadi he mentioned about the cut off. So there's no cut off here.
It's okay, just ignore the cutoff.
So okay, tell me
If I can,
Aina, what is active region? So now you understand, right? What is active region? Tell everybody what is active region.
So active region is the depletion region. That saturation where the saturation of density of electron is different.
What do you understand? Use your own word. I don't understand what you mean.
Okay, in the depletion region, the saturation of electron density is different. That is the region.
Betul ke Aiman? Kawan awak ni faham?
Saya macam tak faham sangat.
Saya pun tak faham juga. So saya rasa kalau kita tak faham, Aina, you don't understand. So awak faham, that's the problem is, that's why brothers and sisters, awak kena tanya soalan sampai awak faham. Jangan hafal. Semua saya duk fikir juga. When I have a talk with Faiz, awak semua ni faham ke tak semiconductor device saya duk ajar selama ni? Awak tak faham ke?
Madam,
Yeah.
from my opinion, I think I understand on the exact moment and I jot down, but when a period of time, I think the understanding disappear.
Ya Allah. Rasa nak nangis dengar tu, Azam. Sebagai seorang cikgu. Rasa macam nak menangis, mengaung rasa dengar cerita. Takkan saya nak kena ajar 10 kali benda sama kot. Right? Allahumma sholli ala sayyidina Muhammad. So, masalahnya, masalah jiwa, mungkin hati yang kotor. Nak bagi tazkirah lah ni. Geram. So, macam mana boleh faham betul? Sebenarnya kalau faham, awak akan ingat tahu. Dia takkan, so saya tak tahu awak faham ke tak.
That's how I feel, but I don't know how others. That's why I jot down and try to read again. But I think there's some point that I missed as well.
We lost the details. You mean?
Yeah.
Saya tengah fikir ni macam mana kita nak buat ni. Sebab saya tak cover banyak dalam kelas ni, I told you right. So kalau tak faham, masalah lah. Saya nak jawab apa, nanti orang tu kata, oh see you cover little. Nanti ada audit dia kata you cover little, so awak tak faham apa pula tu. You know, dah lah cover sikit, saya kata, saya justify saya cover sikit sebab sudah saya faham basic-basic. Tapi ni tanya active region pun tak boleh jawab. So masalah yang satu lagi, awak jangan assume awak faham boleh tak? Kadang-kadang saya rasa, awak tahu tak bila awak faham tu ke tak faham tu macam mana? When you say you understand, it means that you're able to explain it with your own words. That is when you understand. You don't macam jadi burung kakak tua, orang tu sebut saturation, kita sebut saturation, orang tu sebut density, kita sebut density. No, cannot. Tu tak menunjukkan awak faham. Tu menunjukkan awak menghafal. So kalau faham, awak boleh cerita balik with your own words. Then saya tahu awak faham. So dia ada konsep-konsep yang macam awak faham, tapi ada macam konsep, tapi saya nak beritahu tu apa ni, you jangan assume awak faham. So to answer, okay, LED ada active region tak?
LED.
Kalau tak boleh jawab, mana awak tak faham apa active region tu?
No.
No maknanya tak ada active region?
No active region.
Okay, Azam kata no active region. Photo detector, do you have active region or no?
Yes, we do have.
Okay, solar cell, do you have active region or no? Photo detector siapa buat lagi seorang ni?
Ina,
Ada tak active region?
I don't cover that part.
Najwa.
So I don't know.
So bukan tak cover, you should know. It's already part, it's big, very important part of the photo detector. Okay, Najwa, solar cell ada active region tak? Dengan Hambali. Ha?
Ada.
Tak dengar lah Najwa. Hambali, what do you say? Awak type Najwa.
Rasa macam ada.
Rasa macam ada. Okay. Kita ada ikut perasaan sekarang ni. Kita nak cerita. Saya selalu kata I feel. Kadang-kadang Faiz sudah-sudah saya kata I feel ke, saya rasa. Saya kata I will say belajar saya menggunakan device tidak ikut perasaan. Saya tak nak. I don't want to hear your feeling. I don't want to hear your perasaan. I want to know the truth. Okay. So semiconductor is science. So you need to be firm. Ada ke tak ada. So I'm not sure. Basically you say you're not sure. The answer is semua optoelectronic devices ada active region. So what is active region? So the active region is where all the action happens. So the important actions happen. So for example, for LED and laser, what is the most important action in order for it to become an LED or laser? The answer is recombination. So where the recombination happens is the active region, where the main action happens. For example, photodetector. What is the main action in photodetector?
Absorption of photon.
Yes, a generation or absorption of the energy, right? So where that main mechanism happens, that is where the active region is. The same as solar cell. What is the main mechanism? Where the main mechanism happens, that is the active region. Okay? So it depends on the device, but all devices have active region. And why we call it active region? Because this is the crucial part. If you, as an engineer, we want to improve the performance of the device, we need to look at this active region. What's happening there? So we can do something to improve the performance of the devices. Okay, any more question for laser?
I got tadi tapi dah lupa sekejap.
Yes, regarding the laser, So this one, who's gonna answer? So okay, whoever turn to answer is just take the question. Okay, what is it? Aiman said earlier that there is a material that has reflective coefficient, right? So how do they make sure the material only have lower reflective coefficient at one side?
Okay, thank you. So Aiman could need to answer since Aiman yang mention. So kalau Aiman tak ada jawab, Solihin get ready.
So just I don't know the physics behind it, but just use the material with lower reflective index compared to the other one. I don't know how they do that.
Okay, good. So different material have different refractive index. So use a different material. Why do we need to have a lower refractive index at one side?
So that at some point there is a threshold, then the desired output we need that can go up at that lower reflective index material.
Do you understand, Hambali, what Aiman was saying? Kau tak faham tanya. Kalau tak saya tanya awak.
Ulang balik, boleh ulang.
Kena ulang balik, Aiman.
So that at some point there is a like threshold when desired concentration of photon can go out to that lower reflective index material through that.
Faham ke, Hambali?
Faham threshold.
Apa dia?
Tak clear.
Apa yang tak clear?
Weh, saya bantai.
Cakap lah, awal-awal tu. Ayah tak jelas. Tak jelas cakap.
Tak jelas. Apa yang tak jelas?
Sebut.
Semua tak jelas, Aiman.
Kan. Yang apa
How about others?
Apa dia?
How about others?
How about others? Tak faham.
I think others like understand. So just Hambali.
Yes, madam. I understand, madam.
Apa yang awak faham? So Najwa kata dia tak faham.
Najwa said nope.
Macam mana ni? Apa yang awak faham, Salihin?
Because we want to emit light from the laser, so we want it to be one way. So we put at one side is reflective surface, and the other side is partially reflective. So the light will emit at the partially reflective surface, not at the reflective surface. This reflective surface just will reflect all the photon that come in. It reflect and it go back there.
Okay, Azam, do you understand? So you of course dah Solihin, you do laser, you understand. Let's ask your friends ni, kena jawab soalan dalam exam juga ni. Dia orang faham ke tak? Azam.
So it will reflect it out, is it?
Awak faham tak konsep kenapa kita ada reflective dengan partial disreflective, coating? Why you need that, Azam? Do you understand? Dalam LED ada ke tak? No. So kenapa kena ada untuk laser?
So it will be in one direction?
Betul ke, Aiman dengan Solihin?
Yes.
Madam tanya apa tadi?
Saya tanya tu kenapa why you need this reflective coating at one side? Or both side, tapi one is partially, but now why the reflective coating? So Azam jawab because you want the light in one direction, Azam?
Yes, correctly.
Is that correct? Is that the main what's the main reason of having that reflective?
It's
increase
correct,
the
but the main reason is to achieve what do you call it?
desired concentration of coherent photons.
Faham tak? Apa benda desired concentration of desired apa benda of the two photon tu, faham tak?
Yang term tu tak faham ada. Yang desired concentration something.
Which is tu yang paling penting laser kot, dia orang tak faham ni. Macam mana ni Aiman dengan Solehin? Kalau LED tak faham, saya tak nak tanya orang solar cell ke photodetector lagi. Payah kita. Dia orang ni dalam gua yang sangat gelap. So macam mana? Cuba explain laser tu dalam bahasa yang senang, biar dia orang faham. Sekarang ni dia orang tak faham how laser works. Saya rasa dia orang tak faham. Awak faham ke Najwa? Macam mana laser?
Bahasa Melayu boleh kan?
Boleh lah bahasa Melayu. Kita tengok kalau bahasa Melayu tak faham juga, kita bahasa Arab pula boleh. Silakan.
Kalau bahasa Arab soleh lah.
Okey. Silakan Aiman. Bahasa senang.
Saya try dia kan laser kan dia macam memang sangat terang kan, terang dengan fokus kan, dia macam satu line gitu kan lain daripada LED macam random macam tu. So nak dapatkan benda laser yang macam tu, yang light dia macam tu lah kan, dia one of the main characteristic is that the laser need to be coherent tahu apa?
Tanya dia orang balik. Awak cikgu boleh tanya.
Coherent.
One direction?
No.
Same direction? No.
It's the photon with the same wavelength.
Yeah, they not same wavelength but same in phase.
Dia coherent tu, bukan in phase saja, ada beberapa karakteristik Aiman. One of it is same phase. What are other characteristics of what does coherent means? So apa karakteristik of laser light, dia lain daripada LED. Number one, dia in phase. Apa lagi other than in phase? Cahaya dia tu
Monochromatic.
Okay, monochromatic. What does it mean?
One type of color?
What is it?
Same wavelength.
Same wavelength. So same wavelength. Azam kata one type of color. Betul ke?
If they have same wavelength, then they have same type of color.
So kalau LED, one type of color or different type of color?
Different.
What's the question, madam?
Kalau LED, dia one type of color, the color is one type or many colors LED? Saya saja je tanya sebab awak jawab macam tu kan. Saya akan confusekan awak lagi. Sebab jawapan tak tepat. One type juga. So macam mana ni? LED one type juga color. So macam mana? Solehin?
LED macam tak, tapi saya tak tahu kenapa.
Macam tak one color. Apa pernah tengok LED? Dia keluar warna biru hijau ke? Dia keluar warna hijau je, warna putih je, warna merah je. Ke macam mana?
Coating dia.
So dia bukan coating kat luar tu ke?
No.
Cover.
Azam kata bukan coating.
It is the material, from the material.
Azam, that day I asked you about the wavelength and color, right? And you say that different color have different wavelength. And then why is it now one color? Or is it not related?
It's not produce many color in one time. It's need different when the color produced will. But we in laser right now.
Aduh.
Saja, okay. Let me clarify this confusion, okay, brothers and sisters. Make it very, 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 very clear. Sebenarnya saja je saya nak tanya sebab kalau awak tak fikir, awak jawab macam tu, dia macam tak fikir habis tau. Saya macam okay, kita kena fikir habis semua benda. So tu jawab dia same color. Kalau awak tanya soalan tu kat saya, is it same color, laser and LED? I would say it depends. Color of what? When you say color, is it the one that perceived by the eyes, okay, ataupun by a detector, okay. So the answer is our eye is not very sensitive. Dia macam merah kan. Kalau we say if you see a color of red, what is the wavelength of color of red? I don't know the wavelength. 300 something mungkin, 350 nanometer for example, red. If you change the LED to become 352 nanometer, which is it's still red but different shade of red. Mata kita ni nampak red je. Dia ada certain different wavelength sikit, range tu baru kita nampak color lain sikit. So our eyes is not very sensitive in the 1 nanometer range. However, kalau kita ada detector, kita buat monochromator is the one in our lab, it can detect up to 1 nanometer punya difference. So laser, you will see the color is red, but the color is only normally one or kalau range pun dia akan tak jauh daripada 1 or 2 nanometer punya dispersion of the light coming out. So maknanya kalau dia 450, dia akan jadi 451 ataupun 359. So the range so it's monochromatic because we say only that wavelength. My LED kalau kita kata 350 keluar merah, tapi yang keluar bukan 350 saja, dia akan keluar banyak. Dia akan keluar daripada 340 sampai 360. Tapi mata kita akan nampak merah je. You understand? See? So that's why normally for communication we always use LED sebab ada satu je channel satu wavelength. LED gives out many wavelength actually. Walaupun kita kata kita nampak satu color, but dipanggil spectrum is broad. Kalau tengok graph of the light intensity versus wavelength, kalau LED dia macam broad. Sebenarnya yang keluar tu bukan satu wavelengthnya, beberapa wavelength. Kenapa beberapa wavelength walaupun satu material? Tu Azam sila jawab next class. Why is the LED having a broad spectrum when recombination happens?
So it's not monochromatic lah kan?
No, it's not monochromatic. Laser is monochromatic. That's why laser is used for like unifier, fiber optic punya communication. They use laser because you can sharply use. You only want to send satu signal tu dalam wavelength tu je. Sekarang ni LED semua wavelength dekat 20 wavelength atau 30 wavelength dia hantar. Okay. Tapi sekarang pun ada teknologi nak guna LED untuk buat communication. Tu another story lah. That's a new technology. Okay, kita dah pukul 1. Apa?
Dia macam tajam tahagi ya.
Macam apa? Sunlight? Matahari. So sunlight memang broad. So kalau tengok spectrum, awak boleh google lah spectrum, light spectrum of sunlight. Macam-macam ada wavelength. Sebab tu solar cell, sebab awak tanya sebab solar cell kan. So kalau solar cell tu, then a good solar cell will be able to absorb different wavelength coming from the light. Sebab bila matahari, Allah buat matahari tu, cuba can you imagine kalau matahari tu keluar macam monochromatic macam laser? Mati kita semua. Mati. Tapi Allah dengan rahmat dia tu, ni Islamization tak boleh pakai dah, saya dah ambil point ni. So dengan rahmatnya, the spectrum is broad. So kita takkan pokok-pokok pun tak semua pokok akan ambil wavelength yang sama. Ada pokok akan ambil wavelength yang lain. So daripada satu cahaya sumber satu iaitu matahari. Sebab tu Allah bersumpah wasyamsi waduhaha. Allah bersumpah dengan matahari. Sebabnya matahari ni hebat. Satu dari dia panas, satu lagi wavelength dia keluar tu macam-macam. So cahaya dia broad. So bila kata detector kita nak detector kita kena be able to detect different wavelength that come out from the matahari. Infrared, kepanasan daripada matahari tu pun is also light. It's called infrared. Dia cahaya tapi tak nampak, tapi dia bentuk tapi kita boleh detect lah dia. So dia macam, tapi kita manusia kita tak nampak, mata kita tak nampak infrared ni, tapi kita boleh rasa panas. Okay, interesting. So badan kita pula jadi detector. Kalau tidak, mata kita jadi detector untuk visible.
UV as well, madam.
Apa, Azam?
UV as well?
UV pun mata kita tak nampak, tapi kita boleh kena cancer out of the UV, right? So our body can become a detector. So it's interesting semua benda-benda ni. Tapi itulah, kita masih tidak faham how the laser works, I think lah. So macam mana kita nak buat ni? Saya rasa kan, macam mana nak buat? Macam mana yang bukan laser ni nak faham laser? Macam apa cadangan awak? Nak belajar sendiri ke? Awak nak suruh dia orang ajar sampai faham?
Which part, madam?
Which part yang mana?
yang tak faham nak diterangkan tu.
Tu lah, cuba tanya dia orang, dia faham semua part ke? Which part awak tak faham? Najwa, awak faham which part you don't understand? Solihin tanya. Najwa? Be honest. Awak hilang dah ke internet awak? Hello? Aina, which part awak tak faham laser? Kau cerita Aina, tell me how laser works. Can you explain?
Saya tak faham waktu sekarang, madam. Sekarang saya tak faham pun langsung pun. Saya betul macam bila tanya on the spot, saya tak jawab sebab saya tak faham dalam kelas.
Okay, saya bagi video ni, awak beritahu, awak explain saya next week, boleh? Sebab awak kata
semua.
Sebab awak kata faham later.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, so you better prove yourself. So Aina kata dia akan faham next class, dia akan cerita kat kita. Okay, fine. Let's challenge her, and you should. Sebab saya suka orang honest. Saya tak suka orang yang tak honest. Saya tak boleh orang tak honest. Saya memang penyakit saya macam tu. Orang tu tak tahu, saya lagi suka orang tu jawab saya tak tahu daripada dia kata saya tahu. Okay, fine, you prove to me. Biasa macam tu saya kata awak Aina, hopefully you are able to explain. Tapi this is me, I'm just telling I like people who are honest and direct. Saya tak suka cara madam mengajar ni. Okay, fine, beritahulah saya, dan okay, tell me cara macam mana awak suka. Then let's discuss. Rather than kata madam, saya suka cara madam ajar ni tapi sebenarnya tak suka. That is lying and dishonest. And saya tak boleh dengan orang dishonest. Saya rather orang tu beritahu honest pada saya. Then I learn to improve myself. I want to faham. Daripada menipu, kenapa nak menipu? Apa benda point dapat dengan menipu? Nak jaga hati, okay lah. Kalau nak jaga hati, you being honest, but with the guna perkataan-perkataan yang tidak menyakitkan hati. Ada je cara, right? So, okay. So I don't know. So Aina will explain how laser works next class. Apa nama ni? Najwa, apa jawapan awak tadi? Awak faham juga ke? Awak akan faham next class ke macam mana? Macam Aina? Awak tak dengar apa ni? You need to type, Najwa. I cannot hear anything. Hanbali, how about you?
Kita digest.
So maknanya awak akan faham next class juga ke?
Mungkin. Maybe.
Okay, next class Hanbali akan explain, Aina akan explain, Najwa type sekarang. Azam, do you understand?
Saya nak interview diorang balik, madam.
Okay, you better interview sebelum next class. Okay, Azam, Hanbali, Aina, Najwa mana apa? Type apa? Tak keluar lagi. So, and all of you need to understand now LED and laser. Okay, cuba fahamkan . So, for next class, LED dengan laser semua orang kena faham. Kalau tak faham, kalau still tak faham, I will see that I will look at this that you are not being honest with me. Okay. So okay, saya faham awak kena ada masa. Let's see next week. So macam you kena all out lah, interview lah siapa patut sini, make sure awak faham. And
interview
then
madam nak?
Apa?
Kau tanya madam boleh?
Tak boleh. Bagus soalan tu. Jawapannya tak boleh. Sebabnya saya suruh tanya kawan awak ni. Saya nak, kenapa saya tak bagi tanya saya? Sebab saya nak kawan awak ni explain sampai awak faham, and kawan awak tu ajar benda yang betul. Sekarang ni bila awak tak tanya soalan, awak tak faham, I have a feeling saya nak kawan awak rasa responsible untuk ajar benda tu sampai faham. Saya boleh ajar, tapi saya nak kawan awak rasa dia rasa bertanggungjawab untuk make sure awak faham. Kan? So semua orang ada tanggungjawab sini. So tu ni. And then tapi in the end kalau dia dah explain, betul explain kepada saya balik benda tu salah, masa tu saya akan betulkan. Okay, sekarang ni macam saya rasa awak tak faham apa-apa. Tak tahulah yang ini saya, the way saya rasa macam I have a feeling awak tak faham. Laser tu macam mana, LED tu macam mana. So try everybody try to get, and then next week we'll see photo detector dengan solar cell. I don't mind spending more time here just for you to understand. Tapi and then can you do some homework, read juga solar cell dengan photo detector juga, the rest of you, so that in the end by the time they explain tu awak boleh tangkap. Lagipun dia orang dah explain laser. Hari ni ada soalan pun tak ada soalan. Last kan, this is the second time I give them to the chance to explain. Tapi tak ada soalan juga. Dah awak kata last class, patutnya this class awak faham. Tak faham juga. You understand? Saya nak cerita nak geram ni. Okay. So maknanya bila awak nak faham. So I give you, tak apa. Next class, go and settle this down. LED laser, make sure faham. Kau faham, saya akan happy, we move on. Kalau saya tak happy, memang kita semua bermasalah. Okay. Alright. So let's end with the doa. Whose turn is it today to make the doa? Dah 11 lah.
Ada password.
Oh, password. The password today will be
Laser.
Laser lah. Saya duk geram ke laser ni. Okay. So I think you understand, tapi awak kena cari jalan macam mana nak faham Solihin. I think you understand, tapi kawan awak tak faham. Do you understand? Aiman pun awak nak kena find cara yang bagi mereka faham. LED pun saya rasa tak tahulah. Saya tak tahu Hambali faham ke tak LED. Saya tak interview betul-betul. So jadi awak kena cari jalan. So macam nak explain biar dia orang ni faham pun benda LED tu, how it works. At least waktu dululah. Kalau tak cerita yang teknologi apa semua tu tak apalah. Yang penting how it works, the basic mechanism that's occurring in LED and laser. Macam mana dia menjadi laser? Apa benda laser tu? Kalau orang tanya apa benda laser, awak tak ada jawab. Memang then you fail this course lah, sebabnya laser pun tak ada jawab apa benda tu. You should be able to answer. Everybody should be answer minimum what is a laser and how it works. Okay. Siapa nak baca doa? Faiz, you stay after this.
Sure.
Okay.
Semua dah ke?
Semua dah ke? Tak tahulah. Siapa last time?
Me.
Oh. Dah round ke berapa dah Faiz? 2 ke 3 dah?
I think it's the third round already.
Okay, third round dah.
I will recite the doa.
Okay, Azam.
Sure, keep trying.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تجعل اللهم فينا ولا معنا ولا من يتبعنا شقيا ولا مطرودا ولا محروما
Amin.
اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Thank you very much. Selamat berpuasa. Let's end the class with Tasbih Kifarah and Surat Al-Asr. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilaik. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal 'asr. Innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa 'amilus solihat wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. Okay, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.